The wind cut like a blade, and the rancher almost rode past them, almost let the white shapes by the fence become just another lie the prairie told to tired eyes. Then one of the shapes moved. Not waved, not begged, collapsed. He reined hard, heart hammering, because no one collapsed in this cold unless they were already halfway gone. 2 women lay there, frozen hair braided stiff with ice, boots split, hands wrapped around each other as if that alone could hold the night back. He knew before he spoke that they were Apache, knew by the set of their faces and the old fear that crawled up his spine. Because out here fear had a memory. He shouted anyway, his voice torn away by the wind, and when he touched the nearer woman, her skin burned with cold, so fierce it felt like heat. She opened her eyes and whispered a word he did not know, a word that sounded like a promise and a warning at the same time. He dragged them into the barn first, slamming the doors, tearing blankets from the tack room, hands shaking as he worked because the storm was rising and he could hear it laughing. One woman did not wake at all. The other clutched his wrist with sudden strength and stared at him like he was a ghost, her eyes black and bright with terror. He wanted to ask where they came from, what had driven them out into the killing cold, but the answers were written in the bruises blooming dark on their wrists and the raw marks where rope had bitten skin. He built the fire too fast, then remembered and pulled them back from it, cursing himself as he rubbed their feet, their hands, breathing for them when their breaths faltered. Outside, hooves thundered past the fence. He froze, listening. Riders searching. He banked the fire lower, dragged hay across the barn window, and for the first time since he'd settled this land, he prayed not to be seen. Night stretched until it felt endless. The woman who could speak told him pieces when her teeth stopped chattering, words broken by pain and pride. They had escaped a camp where kindness was a rumor and cruelty wore uniforms. They had run when the moon was high, carrying nothing but each other. The one who lay silent was her sister. When she said that, her voice cracked, and the sound hit him harder than any bullet. He knew the stories. Everyone did. He also knew what would happen if those riders came back and found Apache women on his land. By dawn, he would be branded a traitor to his own kind, and the law would smile and look away. He fed them broth by the spoonful, watched color creep back into cheeks, and told himself he was only buying time, only keeping death at bay until he could think. But when the sister finally breathed deep and steady, he understood the lie he was telling himself. The storm broke just before morning, leaving the world stunned and white. He hitched the wagon before the sun rose, hid them beneath canvas and wool, and took the long way south, where the land folded into ravines and the road forgot itself. Every sound made his pulse leap. When they stopped to rest, the women sat upright despite the pain, watching the horizon with eyes that had learned to measure danger by dust and birds. At one creek crossing, riders appeared on a far ridge. The rancher turned the horses into the trees without a word. They waited, breath held, while the riders scanned the land like wolves choosing a path. One laughed, another pointed, then they turned away. The woman who could speak pressed her forehead to the canvas and wept without sound, and the rancher felt something in him break and remake itself at once. By the time they reached the old line shack he used for winter calves, the sun was high. It was nothing, a roof that leaked, a stove that smoked, but it was shelter, and shelter can be a miracle. He left supplies, showed them how to signal if they needed help, and turned to go because staying felt like tempting fate. The speaking woman stopped him. She took his hand, placed something small and smooth in his palm, and met his eyes without fear. He did not know the word she said, but he felt it settle into him like a vow. As he rode away, he realized the prairie looked different, less empty, as if it had been waiting for this choice to be made. The shock was not that he had taken them in, but that he could no longer imagine doing anything else.